So one of the things that I believe that is very obvious over the last 4 years is that our federal government has been weaponized against us. And in my first term, I was fortunate enough to be on the Select Committee on Weaponization of the Federal Government. And we were looking at things like the IRS. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was an undercover operation with a gentleman who worked for the IRS. And he has explained that by using AI, they're able to access every person's bank account in the entire United States. And he even went as far as to say the world.
All right. Oh, lots of big news that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to be exposing corruption at the IRS. We're going to be exposing corruption at the Department of Education. Let's go ahead and jump into today's news. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. Speaking to reporters from the Oval Office, President Donald Trump warned that a reciprocal tariff on Canada for dairy products and lumber imported from the U.S. could be imposed as early as today. President Trump claimed Canada is charging Americans a tariff of more than 200% on lumber and dairy. Wait a minute. I thought America was the bully and that Canada was the one being bullied. Now it's come out that they've been charging a 200% tariff on Americans for several years. Trump continued, they make it impossible for us to sell lumber or dairy products into Canada, but our numbers are a tiny fraction of that, almost non-existent. They'll be met with the same exact tariff unless they drop it. And we may do it as early as today, or we'll wait until Monday or Tuesday, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to charge the same thing. It's not fair. However, some are already doubting President Trump's plan to impose tariffs due to the worry that it might hurt Americans. For instance, in an interview with CNN, Republican Senator Rand Paul stated, almost every industry in Kentucky has come to me and said, it will hurt our industry and push up prices of homes, cars, and so I'm going to continue to argue against tariffs. And Senator Paul isn't the only Republican opposing President Trump. Senator John Kennedy also claimed to share the same worry. He stated, I think President Trump on economics and otherwise is doing very well. But you remember that old saying, the danger of rising high is that the air gets thin. I am worried about tariffs. We're in uncharted waters. I think if the tariffs do start to cause inflation, I think the president will back away from them. Now, I think we are all new to the tariff idea. It's uncharted water for all of us. But according to the past, this is what made America super wealthy. So although I'm nervous, I'm going to give some time to see what's going on. President Trump and his top economists believe that this will bring more investment to America, more companies to America, more good paying jobs for Americans, and that the government will therefore have to abuse taxpayers less and collect that money through businesses. That, coupled with abolishing the waste, fraud, and abuse, could have a huge positive economic change for American households. But I'm not going to lie to you, okay? I'm also operating on faith that Trump and his top economic advisors, many of which were on my channel and guided us from 2017 till 2021, they are the ones that are guiding the president. And I believe that he does not want to hurt Americans, but he does want to get fair trade, and he wants to stop the abuse against the American people. And, I better understand now why President Trump wants to get rid of the IRS, or at least shine light on them. Listen to what Congresswoman Harriet Hageman of Wyoming learned about the IRS and why she told President Trump, you have to get rid of the IRS. Let's go ahead and watch this together.
So one of the things that I believe that is very obvious over the last 4 years is that our federal government has been weaponized against us. And in my first term, I was fortunate enough to be on the Select Committee on Weaponization of the Federal Government. And we were looking at things like the IRS. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was an undercover operation with a gentleman who worked for the IRS. And he has explained that by using AI, they're able to access every person's bank account in the entire United States. And he even went as far as to say the world. I don't know about the ethics or the accuracy of that information, but for that reason, Jim Jordan and I authored a letter to the IRS demanding that they disclose how in the world they are accessing every single person's, how they could and would, and why they are accessing people's private bank accounts. But you know, the 87,000 IRS agents that Biden put in place, they were allegedly to go after the big guys. They were supposed to go after the millionaires and the billionaires. This guy spilled the beans that they don't go after the millionaires and billionaires. You know why? Because they can fight back. Because they have lawyers and accountants and that can, and financial planners and experts who can fight back. You know who said he said they targeted? They target low income and middle income people because they are the ones that cannot fight back. So they are specifically targeting middle America. This whole thing about leaking IRS documents, tax documents, this is a threat, and this is why our government has got to be brought to heel, if you will, which is what President Trump is trying to do.
Hundreds of thousands of Americans' IRS forms were leaked under Biden. Did you know that they have AI tech that they're deploying and that they can look at all of our bank accounts? And did you know that the IRS says that they're going after millionaires and billionaires, but they don't? They go after you and me. They go after the middle class and lower income families. And it makes sense. Some of these wealthy people, they have more lawyers and accountants than you and I have children. And so the IRS says, you know what? That's going to be really difficult to deal with. Let's go after the low-hanging fruit. Let's bully the American people so that we can steal their money and give it to USAID and give it to the Department of Education and give it to Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine and other stupid wars. So thank you, Congresswoman, for sharing this information on that podcast. Now, speaking of economics, the United States General Service Administration, along with the Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Department of Education, announced a joint press release from President Trump that they are canceling $400 million in federal grants to Columbia University. Now, unlike other funding cuts, this wasn't done to simply save the government money or expose that they're giving $400 million of our money to a wealthy university. This decision was due to the school's failure to combat harassment of Jewish students. Secretary of Department of Education, Linda McMahon, stated, since October 7th, Jewish students have faced relentless violence, intimidation, and anti-Semitic harassment on their campuses, only to be ignored by those who are supposed to protect them. Universities must comply with all federal anti-discrimination laws if they are going to receive federal funding. For too long, Columbia has abandoned that obligation to Jewish students studying on its campus. In addition to the press release, it stated, the decisive action of the DOJ, HHS, ED, and GSA to cancel Columbia's $400 million grants and contracts serves as notice to every school and university that receives federal dollars that this administration will use all the tools at its disposal to protect Jewish students and end anti-Semitism on college campuses. Finally, the issue is actually being addressed. We only heard about anti-Semitism after colleges started getting raided by their own students. Now, I, for one, am glad to see this issue being addressed, but still, it's extremely shocking to me. Why is a university receiving so much taxpayer money? Why are we supplementing them? I think one thing that shocked me the most was that many of these Ivy League schools are receiving six-figure tuition from students. On top of that, they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer funding. And these schools, they have huge endowment funds that they trade on Wall Street. For example, did you know that Harvard University has an endowment fund with $50 billion? They almost never spend any of that $50 billion and instead tell the government, we're broke. And the government has been giving them over $500 million on top of billionaires donating because they say they're running out of money. This is a cash printing machine. But why should my hard-earned dollars go to Ivy League schools that are anti-American, anti-Republican, anti-family, anti-Trump? Why isn't that money going to elementary schools, increasing pay for teachers, farmers, like things that really matter, not these Ivy League schools with pretentious, uppity people that think they're better than us? Now, it's crazy to me. Did you guys know that these schools all around the country are receiving hundreds of millions of dollars from us? It's heartbreaking. And then there's corruption. I'm going to have Congresswoman Harriet Hageman on again right now to tell you exactly why President Trump wants to break up the Department of Education. Listen to this crap.
Is the Doge program targeted at these bureaucrats?
Yes.
And so what can you expect?
Well, let's look at the Department of Education. The Federal Department of Education has a budget of about $280 billion a year. Less than 25% goes to educating our students. So where does the other $220 billion go? It goes to a bureaucracy. It goes to a consultant. And that consultant then donates money back to the Democrats. And then it goes to a different consultant. And then it goes to an NGO. And then it goes to, it is money laundering and money churning at its absolute best. And you can look at almost every single agency and you will find it. So the brilliance of Doge isn't that he's going in and cutting spending. He doesn't have the authority to do that. We're the ones that have the authority to do that. What I want him to do is come up with a report, go through agency by agency by agency, identify every single program that we should not be funding, put a number attached to it. We slap a preamble on the front of that report, and we say that every single agency is having their budget cut by X amount as shown in the attached report, and none of those programs can go forward from here on out.
$280 billion of U.S. taxpayer money is set aside for education. It's now come out that less than 25% of that actually goes towards helping the students. It's literally just bureaucratic sponges sucking up $220 billion. No wonder American children are falling behind in their education. No wonder we have dropped every single year since Jimmy Carter put the Department of Education in. I'm sure it started out with good intentions like all government programs, but they all go to crap over time as people become greedy. They fight for money in order to give themselves raises. This is crazy to me. 75% of that money is going towards bureaucracy and not towards the students. I mean, think about all the money going to these universities and all the money going to the DOE, the Department of Education. If they would just use that for teachers, good teachers, educated, motivated teachers, our children wouldn't be behind. I mean, there's cities, mostly Democrat cities, where 80 to 90% of the kids can't read, write, or do arithmetic on their grade level. It's an embarrassment. I can't believe that they're not doing more. All right, now this is messed up. Losing weight can feel like an uphill battle, especially with the American diet. From nasty seed oils that hurt us to high fructose corn syrup that makes us even more hungry. Americans have wrecked their gut health. That's where Thermotrim steps in as a smart, science-backed solution. This USA-made fat burner starts by restoring your gut health. Thermotrim has a gut bacteria found in thinner people, but not heavier Americans. Thermotrim helps restore that so you can lose weight. It supports digestion and curbs cravings naturally. Have you tried other products to lose weight and change your gut health? I know I have. For me, Thermotrim is what my body needed. Get Thermotrim to improve your gut health and start losing weight today. Visit redlineremedies.com or snap the QR code. Make sure to use code Gardner to get an additional 20% off. We all feel better when we lose weight, and I want you to live a long and happy life. All right, now this is messed up. An active duty U.S. Army sergeant has been charged with selling classified information to China. The Army sergeant, who goes by the name of Jian Zhao, has been in communication with an anonymous co-conspirator from July to December, where he attempted to sell encrypted military computers and 20 classified hard drives. He has officially been charged with conspiracy to commit bribery and theft, along with Li Tian, who also allegedly was sharing documents. In a post on X, FBI Director Kash Patel stated, "These individuals have been charged with stealing America's defense intelligence capabilities and empowering adversaries like China in betrayal to our country. They will now face American justice." Attorney General Pam Bondi also stated, "The defendants arrested today are accused of betraying our country, actively working to weaken America's defense capabilities and empowering our adversary in China. They will face swift, severe, comprehensive justice." This is such a disgrace. Members of the U.S. military selling our intelligence secrets to China? Very sad. Peace in the Middle East may finally be obtained thanks to President Trump. According to an article in Arab News, senior Saudi diplomat Hassan bin Yosef, an advisor for King Salman bin Abdulaziz, have expressed strong support for President Donald Trump. Yassin stated, "There is no denying that U.S. President Donald Trump is upending old methods and alliances, forcing a new world order." Yikes, we don't want that. If President Trump can push Russia and Ukraine to end their conflict and embark upon an era of peace, then I believe we can get Israel to do the same with the Arab world. So they're basically crediting President Trump with doing everything he can to keep his promise to be a president of peace. Yosef continued, "An American reconciliation and enhanced cooperation with Russia and China can set the stage for a more peaceful and collaborative world order. If these objectives are within the reach of the new world order of coexistence and cooperation, perhaps those who currently oppose Trump should give him a chance, encourage him, and allow him to claim credit for achieving the objectives of global peace and stability. Perchance President Trump is onto something. Perhaps we can all give him the benefit of the doubt. The next stage will be ending the Russia-Ukraine war, and those meetings will soon take place in Saudi Arabia once again. However, I don't mean to sound jaded. It sounds like these Arab nation leaders, Saudi Arabia leaders, they're more optimistic about Trump and America than even the Democrat Party. I like what he said right here. Maybe instead of opposing Trump, they should give him a chance, encourage him, and allow him to claim credit for achieving the objective of global peace and stability. You guys, they can't even cheer for a 13-year-old boy who survived cancer. They can't even cheer for giving a natural resource park to a young girl who had her life taken by an illegal immigrant. They couldn't even stand in support of a mother whose daughter was violently violated for 18 minutes and then her life taken by an illegal immigrant. The Democrat leadership hates this country. and they hate Donald Trump. Their hatred is going to hurt us. So they do not want to give him a chance. They do not want to encourage him, and never, ever, ever would they allow him credit of achieving global peace and stability. For heaven's sakes, it's now come out that President Biden abandoned American astronauts in space so that Donald Trump and Elon Musk would not get credit before the election. These Democrat leaders, not Democrat voters, some of them just need to wake up. But these Democrat leaders, they are so out of touch with the American people. Even Senator John Fetterman said late last night, "I'm embarrassed by my party. They've completely lost touch with the American people." All right, that's my update for today. As I know more, I will come on and share more with you. Thank you so much. Please give this video a like. Hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 2 million amazing truth seekers. I love you guys. Stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.